Senator Lindsey Graham yesterday decided to take his time from Ms. Mitchell, who was the Arizona prosecutor, and go ahead and let everyone know what he thought of this process. Senator, did you know you were going to say that?
No, I knew I felt that. I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought Ms. Mitchell actually did a good job. The whole goal for me is to get Dr. Ford, walk her through her testimony, point out what you can't say. She's 100% confident, but let me tell you, I'm 100% confident that Brett Kavanaugh didn't do this. I think something did happen to Ms. Ford, but after her testimony, I don't know who took her to the party. I don't know who drove her back, but somebody did. I do know this, that we offered to take her testimony in private in California, and if her lawyers didn't tell her that, then they've got a problem. I know that her letter was given to 3 groups of people, and the person who leaked it to the press intended for this to happen. It was a political decision by somebody to betray her trust, to slow down this nomination, destroy Brett Kavanaugh, and try to hold this seat open. That I do know.
So, Senator, why did you do it? Why did you say that yesterday? You said what a lot of people wanted to say but haven't been able to say.
Well, there was a line of questioning about Kavanaugh. Why don't you turn to Don McGahn if you're truly innocent and ask him to delay this hearing so the FBI can come in and do a thorough job. And here's what got me. How dare you ask this man if he's innocent to do anything? He's before you denying it in every detail, telling you where he was at every day in August. We still don't know the date, the location. It's not she said, he said, she said, they said. It was an effort politically to delay the hearing, to put the burden on him, to make it look like he must be guilty if he doesn't want to delay this hearing past the midterms. I had it with this process. The person who leaked this letter did it on purpose to create a political problem, to slow down the hearing, to start a narrative, to destroy Brett Kavanaugh, and they could give a damn about Dr. Ford. If she was not told we were willing to go to California, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. Your colleague, Dianne Feinstein, at one point was queried by John Cornyn, who we just had on, and said, hey, did you leak it? And she said, no, I didn't. And then he said, did your staff leak it? And she said, no, but I haven't asked them. I trust them. And then the staff said, no, we didn't do it. And then she said, probably came from one of Dr. Ford's friends. Do you buy that?
No. No, I buy Dianne Feinstein didn't leak it because I like her and I trust her. But somebody did it in the circle of the California Congresswoman in her office, Dianne Feinstein's office, or the lawyers. Now, these lawyers were recommended, Katz was, by Feinstein. I got a little problem with that. When you look at where she's coming from, she is not exactly apolitical. So somebody leaked this anonymous allegation for the very purpose we see today, to delay this hearing, to destroy Kavanaugh's life, and they never intended to protect Ms. Ford, ever.
I liked how you stood up for yourself. You looked at some of these Democrats in the eye who you said were your friends, and you said you have actually said that you want to delay this. You have actually said that you're doing this, and then you want to win in November. And what is your message for your friends that are Republicans that are on the fence?
If you legitimize this by voting no, then you're setting up the destruction of all future nominees. You're denying a good man, highly qualified, who's led an incredible life, the chance to serve the country in a position he's eminently qualified for. You're legitimizing the politics of destruction. You are missing a lot if you don't see this as a political hit job. The 5 accusations have all fallen apart. If he has to prove himself innocent, he did for me. What standard would we use in the future to a Republican? If you legitimize this, then our party is going to look at you as having lost your way. And if you legitimize this, I don't know, what would you say to his 2 daughters?
Senator, what do you
I could not do that.
Senator, what do you say to people like Senator Whitehouse, who essentially, and this word coming out,
if he does get confirmed by Tuesday, they're going to start impeaching. They're going to look to impeach him.
Let me say this about Senator Whitehouse. He brought to me the allegation about the boat incident in Rhode Island, and we went together to the FBI, and the guy withdrew the accusation. It was false. He did the right thing. But let me tell you what could happen. There's no statute of limitations in Maryland for sexual assault. And I'll tell Senator Whitehouse and anybody else, if the Columbia, Maryland Police Department or any other agency opens this case and there's a conviction, I will gladly reopen this matter. But I will be in the NBA before that happens. I don't like my chances.
You know, Senator, when we all watched you yesterday, you were so passionate. It looked like...
I was pissed.
That's another way to put it, another P word.
Pissed.
But is it just my analysis, or it looked to me like you've had it up to here with how things are working in that room?
Well, I had it up to here because I voted for Sotomayor and Kagan. Some people accuse Sotomayor of being a racist because of a single speech. I didn't buy that. They accused Kagan of being un-American because she supported kicking the ROTC unit out of Harvard. Well, that's just Harvard. They're good liberal judges, good women, and I can't imagine I would have done this to them. And what was done to Kavanaugh was planned, orchestrated, politics at its worst. The accusations are just offend my sensibilities. I want women to be heard, but I will not be played, and I will not have my intelligence insulted.
You know, being from South Carolina, I remember when you voted for Kagan and Sotomayor, and some people in South Carolina in your state were upset with you for that. A lot.
Some people.
I know, but do you think now it's paying off? Because is your message to the Democrats, this guy's qualified, you better vote for him?
I know they're not going to vote for it.
You don't think any of them will?
No. A few of them might because they have a political problem. But Strom Thurmond voted for Ginsburg. She's highly qualified, very liberal. Right. 96 people voted for Scalia. I'm trying to be the way it used to be. Elections have consequences. Honor the results. Well, when it comes to Trump, the election really didn't happen. What you see here is undermining the election, no holds barred politics, the politics of destruction and delay, not advising consent. And if he loses, if Kavanaugh loses, then woe be unto the next group that come forward.
Wow. And finally, what was your conversation with the president like last night?
It was long. And I said, I've got a new number. You didn't give this number out.
Right.
So, yeah, I got a new number, and a bunch of people beat on my door last night, so it was a bit of a long night.
Because you've been doxxed, right?
Yeah, that's all right.
You and Senator Hatch.
I told the president, I'm going to give you my number. The new one.
But you can't give it out.
But
Just
Senator,
hang on to
what did he say?
apparently you were doxxed.
He was very complimentary,
I'm sure.
and he said Melania said that please tell me that she was very proud of the fact that I pushed back and stood up for this good man, and that meant a lot to me that the First Lady felt that way.
Senator, the story is that somebody using a congressional computer put your personal information on Wikipedia so people could call you. I would imagine there's going to be some sort of an inquiry into where that particular machine is.
Well, I tell you what, when it comes to computers, I'm the perfect guy to ask about them because I don't use them a lot. But I'm not worried about this. This is not about me. If people think I helped Kavanaugh, then I'm proud because he deserved to be helped. But it's about him. He's led a life that I couldn't even begin to match in terms of who he is, in terms of his intellect and his goodness. I've never met a more capable, good person. I've known the guy for 20 years. And I'm in a business where you can say anything you want to say about me. I'm fair game. But this guy did not deserve this. His two daughters, if nothing else, they should be the parents of the year. Because that 10-year-old, if she has it within her ability to pray for the lady, then they've raised a fine young lady here.
Yeah, we also saw his parents sitting behind him. I felt for them.
Yeah, it broke my heart. But you know what? It is what it is. We're going to win. He's going to be on the court, and hopefully the Senate will pull out of this ditch we're in.
Well, you got to go because you got to vote this morning. Lindsey Graham, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
The statement speaks for itself. So the game plan, as I understand it from the statement, is that there'll be a supplemental background check consistent with what the statement said, not to take longer than a week. We're going to move to proceed to the nomination tomorrow, either by recorded vote or voice vote. Hopefully in the next few days the FBI will answer questions that linger in the minds of some, and we will have our up or down vote next week. Time will tell. I know all I need to know. I'm very confident in this man, who he is, and he's capable and qualified, and you know my view about the process. But this is democracy. Jeff is a wonderful guy, Flake. He's trying to be fair. And, you know, the 3 senators who have had concerns are being listened to, and it's called democracy. I hope 1 or 2 Democrats will come forward and say that this process, while I may not vote for Kavanaugh, is better, moving in the right direction. Time will tell.
Have you spoken to the president? Message about this move?
The leader's message is I would like to have some definition, and I think we now have definition. But the thing about democracy is that when you got 51 senators, you're going to listen to all 51. And I do hope, some people were talking to Jeff, I hope they'll come forward and say, well, I won't vote for Kavanaugh. This is a better process. On the other side, time will tell.
Have you talked to the president?
No, I was making a joke, if he's listening, about trying to explain this to him, because I didn't know what we'd done. But now I feel like the White House will honor the request of the committee to have a supplemental background check. And again, I've told the president this is a separate branch of government. I know it's frustrating to deal with the Senate. Sometimes we feel the same about you, but that's the way it works. And at the end of the day, I think you've had a process here that I doubt if anybody who will ever be nominated to the Supreme Court has been looked at harder than Brett Kavanaugh. And one thing I want to do when this is all over with, and I think he'll win, I hope he'll win, I'd like to meet his daughters.
Are senators steamed at Jeff Flake?
No.
Because nobody's mad at him?
Well, listen, if you're mad at him, that's unreasonable. No. Nobody that I know of. People are frustrated this going on. I mean, most of us are ready to move, but I'm not going to say that. There's some people that bother me, but Jeff is 100% consistent.
And so they got to finish the supplemental background check in less than a week, the FBI. Is it going to take a week if they're never going to be able to figure out where this alleged incident happened?
I think we've got a process to answer some questions, and I'll let you ask others, but I feel like the supplemental background check can be done quickly, and I feel comfortable we're going to move forward and he will get confirmed.
What has to happen in a supplemental check for it to be thorough?
People who look at it say it's thorough.
What if Mr. Judge doesn't answer questions? Or
I'm not going.
Aren't you concerned about aren't you concerned about things that he might say?
He's made a statement under penalty of a felony, and if he's willing to talk again, I can't imagine him saying anything different. But that'll be up to him. I don't know what he's going to say, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Have you heard from your colleagues, Senator Collins or Murkowski, that this is going to be enough to get them to vote yes on Brett Kavanaugh?
You need to ask them.
Is there talk about that?
You need to ask them.
Okay, we will.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Senator Lindsey Graham tearing into his Democratic colleagues for their handling of Judge Kavanaugh's entire confirmation process. Watch this.
What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics.
So does he have a point? Are Democrats politically motivated to keep the Supreme Court seat open? Here down to debate is Democratic strategist Rochelle Ritchie and Republican strategist Nathan Sproul. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Good morning.
So, Rochelle, I'll begin with you. Your overall thoughts on yesterday, and specifically, Lindsey Graham there. I mean, you could just see the passion inside of him.
Look, I think that this was where you saw everyone very passionate about what was happening yesterday, whether it was Dr. Ford, Judge Kavanaugh, and Senator Graham. I think it's really unfortunate that Dr. Ford's story has been held for this long, which does sort of give credit to the fact that this was a politically motivated tactic in order to withhold Kavanaugh's nomination. With that said, I also think that this kind of shows a little bit about what is happening on Capitol Hill right now. There is a lot of divisiveness, whether it's on the left or whether it's on the right. And I think that for Republicans, it's about credibility. Who do you believe? Who is believable? And I think they're looking at this as a criminal hearing where it's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. And what we saw yesterday was that Dr. Ford was not really able to, unfortunately, corroborate her story, and Judge Kavanaugh was.
Nathan, what do you think? What did you think about just the passion that went back and forth from all sides yesterday?
Oh, I think Senator Graham was exactly right. And what's interesting is on my Twitter feed, I follow a wide range of people from the crazy left to the crazy right and all points in between. And yesterday, what I saw on Twitter after Senator Graham's speech was that the mild-mannered, somewhat conservatives that I follow that rarely show any anger or any indignation were upset. They were angry. They were fired up. I think Senator Graham tapped into a nerve where a lot of Republicans for the last 10 days have thought this process is a sham, just like he said, that Judge Kavanaugh was set up, just like he said. And unfortunately, the biggest loser yesterday was the American people and the institutions that we rely on to provide good government for our country.
And the White House came out in support of Senator Graham almost immediately. The president himself, Sarah Sanders, tweeting that, Lindsey Graham has more decency and courage than every Democrat member of the committee combined. God bless him. So a lot of finger pointing at this point. But Nathan, you mentioned a good point, and I'll bring this up with you, Rochelle, the reflection on both sides of the aisle. If Democrats do succeed in delaying this confirmation vote, what precedent does that set?
I think that we've heard a lot about the fear that will this, sort of impact Supreme Court nominations from here on out. If one person is able to come forward with an allegation, would this ultimately stall our confirmation hearings of our justices? So I do think that that is certainly a concern. But I think that we do have to be concerned about the character of our justices, and that's what the Democrats are talking about. They're talking about whether or not we want a man who has been accused of sexual assault sitting on the highest bench in the nation.
Yeah, accused of sexual assault, but with no corroborating evidence to support that, including the best friend of the woman doing the accusing who says that it didn't happen. Nathan, you get the final word here.
All of the evidence is on Judge Kavanaugh's side. And as I was watching this yesterday and reading about it last night and this morning, what struck me is I have 2 daughters and 1 son, and I want my daughters to be able to grow up in a world where they don't have to fear bringing forward some type of an allegation if something horrific like this were to happen to them. But I don't want my son to have to fear that he is presumed guilty just because somebody says something with 0 corroborating evidence. And as of right now, all of the evidence is on Judge Kavanaugh's side.
Yeah, and not fear that you'll be put out for display like what has happened here with Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh. Thank you so much for joining us.